Hi, I'm Mary Jane from Fiber from the Farm, and we're going to do a little needle felting tutorial, and we're going to do Easter eggs. So let's set these aside. My core wool is pretty lofty. It's pretty large. Yours may be larger or smaller. This is about a 16 to 17 inch piece. I just pulled off my roving, and we're going to tie a knot in this in the middle because we want to make this a little firm. So when you're pulling on your fibers, I pull very closely to the knot because I want to keep the knot in the center. Plus, a lot of times your roving is made out of short stapled wool. So if you pull too hard and too far back, it may just come off. And if it does, it's not a big deal. You can needle felt it back onto the knot. So I'm just pulling gently from side to side. I want to get this core to be pretty heavy because the more air you have in your wool, the harder it is to try to felt. So that's pretty snug now. So now I'm going to take this end and I'm going to wrap it around and watch how I hold it with my thumb and my forefinger. So I wrap this around again and I grab it with my thumb, my index finger, around my thumb, and again. And now I'm going to roll it around so it's right to the end, and I'm going to tack this down. That way we don't have to fight with it when we're going to do the other side. I'm using a multi-punch tool, and this holds 3 needles. Well, it can hold 1 or 2 or 3. And this just makes the process go a little quicker. You can certainly do it with a single needle, if that's what you have, that's fine. Or if you have multiple needles but you don't have a holder, you can always just use Scotch tape and see how the 3 are together. And all it does is it makes it go a little faster. But I'm going to use this tool because it keeps my hand away so you can see. So now I have this tacked down, and I'm going to hold this up. And now I'm going to go down around with this other one and up and around, and see how I'm holding it with my index finger and my thumb. And I get to the end and I'm going to tack that down again. So now I'm going to take a look at this. It kind of looks like a blob right now, but I'm going to start. This looks like more of a pointed end, and we're going to make this the rounded end. So I'm just going to start felting. And remember, when you felt, the wool goes down in the direction that your needles are going in. So we can coax this to be more pointed. So I'm just going back and forth. I like to hold my needle at a 45-degree angle because I want my needles to be going into the felting surface and not into my hand, because that's not a good place to be. So I'm just rolling this around and changing the direction so I can make my shape and coax it in the direction that I want. I kind of want to make this firm. If you're just going to put the eggs in a bowl and you're not going to decorate them, meaning they're not going to felt anything on top of them, it's okay if they're squishy. But if you're going to decorate them, like this little guy here, where I put the little sheep base on, and of course he had to have a tail. You have to have it a little firm because when you felt into this, if it's too squishy, it's going to flatten out. But for this video, we're just going to show you how to make the egg and how to put the dyed wool on top of it. We'll do a separate video, and you can watch that one, and we'll decorate some. So we're just going to keep coaxing this to a point, keeping the bottom end a little more rounded out. And we want to get these fibers pretty tacked down, and we want to get the air out of that. And that's why when we rolled it together, we wanted to get most of that air out, so we don't have to spend so much time felting. So I'm not going to keep this going. It's like watching paint dry, but you get what I mean. Just keep going in every direction and keep working at that. And I want this to be more egg shape, so I just felt more here. And now you can see it's starting to form the egg shape. Okay. So now we have our egg shape. So now we want to choose a color. And I have lots of nice lofty dyed wool. I'm going to pick pink for this one. So you take your dyed wool and you're going to lay it down in there and you're going to roll it around and you're going to decide, how much do I need? Well, I'm just going to pull a little bit of that off. And so I tack this down first because, again, it helps me when I want to make it firm, because I want to keep as much air out of it as I can. So I'm just going to tack this end down, and I'm actually rolling this and I'm pushing down against my felting surface, so it's actually pulling on it and keeping it as tight as possible. Again, it just makes it quicker to do the felting. So now I'm going to start tacking this end down while I have it nice and firm. And you can see how nice that color is looking on there. Now I got a little bump here, so I'm just going to fold it over like that. And again, that just helps with your felting. So now we're just going to go around and around the egg and tack all that down. And again, you can certainly do this with a single needle as well. Just takes a little bit longer. You can use 3 together if you don't have a tool, or you can use your tool. And it's just a little time consuming. Actually, it's kind of relaxing if you're really into needle felting. There's something very relaxing about stabbing. So we're just going down all around, moving it around. And when you get these little bumps, I have a tendency to roll them up a little bit. And you can see how nicely that goes in there. So this prepares you to be able to now decorate. And it has a nice firm surface, or for decorating, or you can just drop it in a bowl with all the rest of them. And the more you felt, the tighter it gets. You can use, I'm actually using a 36 because I wanted it to go pretty quickly for the video, but if you have 38s, that's fine. And if you don't like the needle holes, you can use the 38s or even a 40, but just remember you're going to do a lot more poking. So I take it at the end and I roll around a bit because that actually takes some of the needle holes, kind of makes them hide, you can see. And there we go. Now I have another egg to join my nice little collection here. And I can either leave them like this, or I can decide to decorate them. But that'll be a nice beginner tutorial, a nice fun project to do, especially when you're first starting out, because it's relatively simple and you get to feel how the needles work, and it's a lot of fun. And now when you have more time, like another day, you can go back and decorate these, and you'll have to look for the next video for that. So thanks for joining me, and again, if you need any supplies, check out fiberfromthefarm.com. Thanks.